What is up, YouTube, and welcome to this Justice League video. So if you're new to the channel, subscribe is super appreciated if you did enjoy the video, and please do drop a like and let me know all your thoughts down below. But Justice League is not that far away, and I am super psyched for this. And last night I did bring you the news that Superman may possibly, well, we know he's 100% returning to the Justice League. We just don't know how or when in the movie he will be, but it does look like he will be in the Kryptonian regeneration matrix, just like he was in the comics as well. So we're going to be getting the black suit Superman, which sounds freaking awesome. I'm super excited to see that happen in the movie. So it's going to be a great thing there. But of course, the question is that a lot of this movie is still, or at least has, a huge mystery, and we never really have seen a proper story trailer. We haven't really seen what they're facing. We know they're facing Steppenwolf, but we haven't had a lot of information about what his motives are, etc. But the comic book fans do know exactly what this was all about. It is Steppenwolf, the uncle of Darkseid, who is leading the armies of Darkseid and Apocalypse to Earth. And, well, this is looking and shaping up to be a hell of a film. But there's still, like I said, big mysteries surrounding it, such as the huge battle that we've seen in the trailers. And we have seen the red skies, and we see all the parademons fighting. The Batmobile is going around. And one thing which I found really weird when I've watched all of the trailers so far is the fact that this trailer, it shows us this city, it shows us this red sky place, but to me, for some reason, it looks really CGI'd, and which I guess that does make sense, because obviously having these huge cities be destroyed is, you know, yeah, there's a lot to do. That's really hard to actually kind of show a whole city being destroyed. But what is curious is that there's no one around. There's no one whatsoever around, and really there's no people being saved. It is a stark contrast to the Avengers movie, where absolutely the whole city was being destroyed, which was a criticism of Man of Steel, and people did have criticisms of Man of Steel with the huge destruction that happened in the film, but they didn't have problems with the huge destruction in the Avengers films. So yeah, a bit of a double standard there. I mean, I love the Avengers films, but I did find the criticism that there is a lot of destruction and that going on a bit really freaking stupid. You've got three Kryptonians against a Kryptonian who's been on Earth for quite some time. So of course there's going to be a hell of a lot of damage between these super foes, and that was referenced in Batman vs Superman as well at the start. And Batman, Bruce Wayne, realizes that, well, Superman needs to be stopped because of all this huge destruction that has happened, but really it wasn't his fault, because, you know, he was on this Earth in the first place, and he can't really stop people trying to kill him. Well, he could have gone really voluntarily, but whatever. So what I think is happening here is that they are possibly actually moving away from having these huge cities be destroyed. I mean, Batman vs Superman, they drew the fight away. So we had Doomsday be drawn away by Batman in his Batwing, and he flew to a different part of the city, and they got Doomsday to fight them there, which really does kind of, they've heeded the word of everything that happened in Batman vs Superman, which does make sense, considering that the fight between Supes and Batman does kind of spawn out of the Man of Steel movie. So what I think is happening here is that they're going to draw Steppenwolf's army away from everything that is happening, and they're going to move into a different location and try and draw Steppenwolf and the parademons to somewhere else. Now, where could this other place be? Now, we had Empire magazine, which has had a hell of a lot of interviews with all of the cast, and we've had some leaked images coming out of that. And we see, of course, Batman with Wonder Woman in the Batcave, and that Batcave, I didn't really like the modern Batcave in there, to be honest. I like the classic one. I like the huge actual cave, not just like, you know, his basement. But here we do see them there, and in the background we see one of the iconic parts of Chernobyl. Now, if you remember, 50,000 people used to live here. If you've played Call of Duty 4, you know all about Chernobyl. and the Ferris wheel that is there in the amusement park, because it had one of the best missions in Call of Duty 4. Yeah, enough about Call of Duty 4. But this Ferris wheel looks incredibly like the one in Chernobyl, and this would explain the fact that what has happened in this fight is there's no one there. There's no one there, no citizens, because it is completely gone. If you don't know what Chernobyl is a place in the Ukraine where in, I believe it was the 80s, I think it was the 80s, I could be wrong, because it was still during the Soviet Union and the Cold War, a huge kind of reactor went into meltdown and really blew up. I believe it blew up. I think it blew up. And it irradiated everything around it. And this would be the perfect place to hide an army of parademons and a whole kind of work and all this kind of thing going on. And from the set visits, we learn that what is happening is scientists are being taken away from everywhere in the planet. And we did seemingly see in the trailer that Cyborg's father has been taken as well. So what I'm predicting here is that Steppenwolf and his army are taking these scientists and sending them everywhere to the Ukraine, and he is based there as well. So maybe it's more of this, maybe it's more of him, that's where he's located, and then the Justice League zone in and hone in on him as well. So I think that is possibly what will happen there. And what this would explain why there's not really anyone other than the enemy and the Justice League in the trailer in this city. So let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that that is possible? Do you think that that could be something that is going to go on? And the red sun as well, this does make sense because it would nullify Superman's powers, albeit Superman is dead. So the thing here is Superman possibly has returned before this fight. And maybe Steppenwolf has realised that we need to, you know, block out that sun. That gives him all his powers as well. So maybe he will return a lot earlier on in the film than we are possibly expecting. And we'll return with that black suit. And unfortunately, we're not getting the moustache that Henry Cavill was sporting for the new Mission Impossible film, sadly. It's all going to be digitally edited out, which is going to be no mean feat whatsoever. So all of this is shaping up, and I'm excited to see where this actually goes. And it does. I think a lot of people who criticise Man of Steel might be a bit happier here. As well as this, the rest of the cast have been saying that this was the plan all along. The plan to have a more upbeat Justice League film, a more kind of hope, more of a sort of like a DC Rebirth. Although this franchise was planned before DC Rebirth, but you get my point. It's more of a hopeful world to be in, and this will have the Justice League rise out of the darkness, which is a really good idea, and Zack Snyder is a genius, and that is the best way for him to actually work this out. But what do you think? Do you think that this is a good idea? Do you think that having a more of a kind of happier version will work? And apparently a lot of the sequels will actually feature more of a MCU style moving forward. So having everything sort of phasing up and leading up to a new kind of era, a new phase, do you think that is a good idea? Because really, I'm not sure if I like that idea, because then it gets to the idea where you have to see this film to see that and that and that. And I do like the kind of winky references that have happened so far with the Flash turning up and things like that. So what do you think about that? Would you prefer a more connected universe, or would you prefer a universe where what we've kind of got now, where Wonder Woman exists in the same world in flashbacks, but she just merely hasn't actually, or doesn't kind of have Batman turn up or someone tell her about the Justice League initiative, just like the Avengers in the post-credits scenes. So I'm super hyped for this film, and I'm kind of happy that Zack Snyder it's still his vision. It's just the fact that the reshoots are simply done by Joss Whedon. So let me know what you think below. Please do drop a like. Please do subscribe. And I'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Winter is coming.